So let's talk about this required practical to do with force, mass and acceleration. Right, let me start off by introducing the equipment, and then we'll talk through the variables and stuff like that. So your equipment will probably look something a little bit like this. This is the most common way of doing it. Let me label up and say what the various bits are. So what you've got here, this blue thing with the yellow wheels, this is a trolley. It's literally just a wooden block with wheels. It's got a little hook at the front just here that you can tie a piece of string onto. Nothing terribly special. Your trolley has probably been adjusted so it's got a mount somewhere that you can put masses. And then over here, this bit is a pulley. And essentially it's a wheel that the string, which is tied on just here, can go over and be tied onto some more masses just down here. So what are we doing with this? Well, the basic idea is that you get your trolley and you put it on a nice flat tabletop, and then you attach some masses, and then the weight force will pull the trolley across the table. Okay, so let's just recap. We were investigating force, mass and acceleration. Well, that's the bit to do with force, the force that's going to drag it over. We've talked about the masses on the trolley and the masses on the end of the string. So that's the masses. What about acceleration? Well, in this experiment, you can look at acceleration most commonly with these things called light gates. And what they are is they're almost looks like hoops. And when the trolley passes through them, it sends a signal to the data logger, which is here, which is basically a clever computer for measuring stuff. And then it passes through various places and takes measurements. This data logger thing, that's going to be the thing that measures the acceleration. Okay, because it's going to take a velocity reading here and a velocity reading here. And it is going to see, how much that velocity has changed within the gap. It's going to calculate the acceleration for you. Okay, your exact setup may differ depending on what equipment you have, but this is the most common way that I've seen it happen. So, without any ado, let's get on. So, this experiment comes in two halves. There's the changing force, and then you see what impact that has on acceleration. And then you've got the changing mass. Oops. And again, you see what effect that has on acceleration. Now, we're going to talk about variables in a second, because variables are quite important in this. Through both of these two experiments, one of the things that you are going to not want to change, so a control variable, is the trolley. Okay, there'll be different degrees of friction between the wheels and the axles and all that sort of stuff. If you start swapping out the trolley halfway through, this is liable to all go a little bit wrong. Okay. So let's get into talking about this experiment just here. So you've got a trolley, it's going to be pulled along, it's going to pass through some light gates, and you are going to end up with we're going to end up with the reading on the data logger of the acceleration, and you're going to change the force. Right. This is where things get a little bit tricky. To change the force, you are going to change the weight. You're going to add on these masses, and you are going to take them away. Okay. But the mass has to remain constant in this experiment. You can't just sling on another one just here. That's not how it works, because then you are changing the weight force and the mass as well. What you are going to need to do is to start off with masses on top of the trolley, and then transfer the masses over here on the end of the piece of string. This will ensure that the mass will remain constant, and that's a really important one, because you're changing the force, but the mass, the total mass in the whole system must remain constant. Okay, you're changing the force. So this here, the thing you are changing on purpose, that is your independent variable. You're measuring the acceleration, which is your dependent variable. And everything else has to remain the same, particularly the mass. That's the really important one. So no adding masses on straight here. You've got to transfer them off of the trolley and onto the at the end of the piece of string, just there. So you start off with all the masses on the trolley, and then you gradually move them across and increase the weight force. Little reminder that when you put 100 gram mass on, that's not a force. You need to convert that into a force, into a weight force, by doing W equals M times G. So if you started off with 100 gram mass as the force on the end of the piece of string, then you'd first of all need to convert that 100 grams into kilograms by dividing by 1,000, 0.1 kg, times by the gravitational field strength of the Earth, which is 9.8 newtons per kilogram. So if you started off with that particular combination, then the weight force would be 0.1 times 9.8, 0.98. So the weight force here would be 0.98 newtons. That is a force. Okay, so you can't just say mass. It's got to be the force which is on the end of the piece of string dragging the trolley over. So you've done lots of different weight forces by moving masses off the trolley and putting it on the end of the bit of string, and then you inevitably want to draw a graph. Okay, so your accelerations have been automatically recorded by your data logger, so you haven't got to worry too much. And what you will find when you plot this graph is that there is a very clear relationship between these two. So we can say at this point, because it's got such a clear gradient, that they are proportional. So let's write that as a proper sentence, because this is going to be important for later. Acceleration is proportional to force. So they go up at the same time. You double the force, you double the acceleration. So that's part one. That's the changing force one. Let's talk about the changing mass one. So we'll just zoom down here. So I'm going to need some new equipment. Here we go. Same setup as before. I've not drawn on the light gates this time just to make it a little bit less cluttered. What you need to do now is, you see this weights on the end. This needs to be kept constant. You do not touch this. Okay, so that's the really important thing. That's the critical bit here. The weight force has to be constant. So no mucking around with the amount of force that's pulling the trolley along. What you can change, like it says you're changing the mass, is what you can do is add more masses. So you are making the trolley heavier and heavier and heavier as you go along, and again measuring the acceleration using the light gates. Okay, so again you'll want to draw a graph. You want to plot it with acceleration against mass, and this time what you will see is you'll see a graph like this, like so. Which makes sense if you think about it, because if you think about heavy vehicles, they accelerate more slowly than lighter vehicles. So here we can say that they are inversely proportional. Whoops, where's the R gone? Proportional. And again, because it's important, I'm just going to add it here. Acceleration is inversely proportional, proportional to mass. Okay, so if you're talking about doubling the mass, then you're going to halve the acceleration. Okay, so what does this mean then? We have a relationship between acceleration and mass, and we have a relationship between force and acceleration. Well, this all boils down essentially to the equation F, so force equals mass times acceleration. Okay. So what I'm essentially saying is that if you rearrange this so that you have acceleration as the subject, so A equals F over M. Well, if you think about this like a bracket, like a fraction, if I was going to do 1 over 2, let's say force of 1 over a mass of 2, if I make the number at the bottom larger, so if I change that to a 4, well, that's getting smaller, isn't it? And if I change that to an 8, you see it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Basically, as the mass goes up, the acceleration goes down. Likewise, again, if you think about this like a fraction, if I make the force bigger, if I change that from 1 to a 2, that's a larger number than if I put a 4 here, that's a larger number again. You see? And it's funny because this whole idea of there being a relationship inversely proportional to mass for acceleration and another one proportional to force is an idea that we have come across before in our previous video. And it's time for the welcome return of Detective Inspector Newton and his second law. Look, the acceleration of an object is proportional to the resultant force, which we proved with experiment number 1. And then you could talk about the fact that the acceleration of an object is inversely proportional to the mass of the object, which we also talked about this time in experiment number 2. By doing this required practical, you have proved Newton's second law. Well done.